Hey everybody, how's it going? Nick here, and today I figured I'd just go live, why not? Actually, let me quiet my computer down just in case. Alrighty, excellent. So today I wanted to start off just by doing a little bit of sneak previewing for you guys, showing off some interesting knives that are, on my table for review here. For instance, this little guy is a Benchmade. This is the Benchmade McHenry Williams 710, and this is a special edition here, but it's a really neat knife. It's huge. Oh my god, is it huge? And it's got a weird recurve to it, but there's a lot of good here, and so looking forward to doing a full review. By the way, none of these guys have actually that's not true. I've carried two of these, but these are very preliminary impressions. Right here is a Hinderer half track, and a lot of these, by the way, have been they've been donated by a viewer of mine, guy named Andrew, to the channel, and I'll be giving them away. Oh, not giving them away, sorry. I'll be selling them at a very competitive price, either through my Patreon or later on afterwards. Yeah, there you go. This is a Hinderer half track, and actually, I gotta say, this is a surprisingly compelling little knife here. Using Teflon washers, that's ugly. Not a big fan. But the thing is, it's just kind of, it's kind of nice. It's sort of the Spyderco Techno of the Hinderer lineup. It's a little thick, it's a little blade, but you know what? I like it. So I'm looking forward to really carrying this and giving it its full go there. Let's see here. What else do I have? This is by Rake Knives, which is spelled R-U-I-K-E, because apparently there is some way to make R-U-I-K-E into rake. It's a P105-K. Great name there. But the action on this knife is really incredible. And thanks to my buddy Peter over at Cedric 8 Outdoors for donating this guy. A really impressive little knife. This right here is a Zeba knife. I want to say it is an MS2. No, it's an S2. It's something with a 2 in it. I'll put the full name in the description. I'm not great at that, but this is a cool little knife as well, and I've got another version of this as well. But very, very neat little knife here. There's a lot of good here, great action, etc. This right here is a CRKT knife, and it's weird because it has a very weird opening system in that you, in order to open this knife, have to press down on the thumb stud here, and then it can pop the rest of the way out. That's kind of neat, the Cricut Igniter. Kind of interesting there. Kind of weird, honestly. The Kaba Z Hunter, Dozier design. But you can see here that they are very clearly channeling a certain other manufacturer's work. That's not true at all. Everybody's making knives in this kind of thing. But, and somebody's saying, Lee Beasy says, those serrations, whoa, yes, indeed. These are what are called VEF serrations, V-E-F-F. They're kind of neat, actually. They cut a little bit better than normal serrations. Kind of interesting. So, a little different than usual right here. This is an A2, which is a collaboration between Andre Van Heerden and Andre Thorburn. Really neat in this little Tonto blade shape. I haven't had a chance to carry this little guy yet, but I'm really super looking forward to it. Because, wow, pretty impressive. The action on it, too. It's a Thorburn, and the Van Heerden, they're doing good. So, there you go. Jay Simon says, VEF, new word for the vocab. Yeah. Thing is, though, that's a guy's name. I don't think there's any other meaning to it. This is an Olsen custom knife, which is kind of interesting. It's a button lock knife, which is not something you see a great deal of. See? Little button up here. Pardon me, everybody, but basically, kind of neat. It's a very nice, and it's a free dropper, absolutely. It's one of the advantages button locks have is when the button is disengaged, there is quite literally nothing contacting the blade. And so it's veffed up. Nice. Sorry. Seeing these comments. So that's kind of neat. And I'm looking forward to spending some more time with this. This is a Benchmade sequel. The 707. This is a knife that I've had in my eye for a long time because it's a very neat, small little knife, 154 cm. One thing that I did not understand is that these scales are not some kind of a plastic, but these are actually, there is metal here. And it's got that same chalky texture as the 940, which is going to be something... it's good for some people, bad for others. The Hoback MK Ultra here. This is a really, really, really neat little knife. It's also got a really creepy name to it. Holy crap, is the name of this knife creepy. Look up MK Ultra, or don't if you'd rather not sleep. So anyways, neat little guy though. I've carried this guy actually a fair amount. I'm getting ready to do the review of it, but there's a lot of good there. Right here, Spyderco Resilience. Speaking of ridiculous knife, holy crap, look at this thing. This thing is a huge. And it's like disproportionate. You open it up and it's almost comical. So there you go. So those are some of the knives I've been looking at lately, and I've got plenty more. And I want to thank all the generous viewers who send their gear along, who loan gear my way. And this guy, by the way, was given to me by my buddy Frank, who is a real gem of a human being. And let's see, is there anybody else I got to attribute here? Not offhand. This is another Andrew who gave this knife to me. Anyways, I'm sure I'm forgetting. I believe the same Andrew handled this. I got multiple Andrews here. I'm juggling. I'm having a bad time of it. But that's okay. It's a great problem to have. So yeah. Daniel DeSanto is asking. Oh, by the way, this is an Ask the Nick question, so just throw questions up there as you're seeing things. I'm watching them roll by there. If I don't get to your question, that's okay. Well, it's hard to keep up, let's put it that way. Feel free to put that back in there. But anyways, Daniel DeSanta asks, DeSanto, that is, asks what I think of the Kaiser Feist. This is a little front flipper from Kaiser. It's hugely anticipated. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on one of them. Basically, I got a couple of viewers talking about sending them my way. I thought that Kaiser might be providing one for review, but I guess they decided against it. So no problem there. I'm going to check one out regardless because it's a little front flipper and it's supposed to be very nice. A lot of people are having a great time of it. So I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely. Let's see here. New band name, The Multiple Andrews. Nice. Well done. Let's see here. You see I have the new Omega on the wrist indeed. Yeah, I showed this guy off in a video lately. Still kind of a fan of it. Actually, sneak preview here. I like the watch very much. I'm getting an accuracy cumulatively around 0.3 seconds a day on a mechanical, which is pretty impressive here. There's a lot of good here. There is some bad, and there is a little tiny bit of ugly. There is some bezel play that I'm not super in love with on it. And a knife, wow, this is not a knife, ladies and gentlemen. I'm enough of a knife expert to know that at least. This is not a knife. But anyways, it's a great little watch, and I love the quick adjust system so damn much, because if you want to change the bracelet, you just can pop this in and then push it out or in to get more or less. Oh man, does it bring me joy. So anyways, liking the watch very much, but I got plenty of other watch reviews coming up, like this Steinhardt here. We got a Citizen coming up before too long. So there you go. Great questions, everybody. Keep them coming. Somebody, whose name I'm forgetting now, I'm sorry, asked, Nick, I want to get a Grimsmo Norseman. How should I do that? Or something along those lines. The problem is, there's not a good answer to that question. You can't really get one. They're really hard to get. Right now, the Grimsmos are focused on making Rasks, so they're not making brand new Norsemen. Or at least they're not making many of them. And on the secondary market right now, people are shafting other people like crazy. My latest knife gripe was all about this. So if you want to get a Grimsmo Norseman, you got two options. You either pay some stupid amount of money. Like if you're paying over $1,000 for one of these guys and it's not a Damasteel blade, you are getting your face ripped off. Don't even, ask the question. These retail at like $700. But still, you're not going to get a great choice. You're not going to get a great choice of Norsemen out there, and you're going to get your face ripped off. The other better option is to stick around for a little while. I suspect that once the Grimsmos get all of their Rasks shipped, and better still, get back from Blade Show, because if I were them, I'd be working very hard to ship the remainder of the Rasks and have some on the table for Blade Show to make some money. I think you'll start seeing a lot more Norsemen coming down the pipe, and hopefully the prices will depress themselves a little bit there. Somebody, oh good God, I'm going to try and pronounce this, QKVLLZX, that's probably not actually pronounceable. Ask, Nick, how do you keep your collection small? And that's a really good question. I'll show you 90% of my knife collection right now here. It's these little guys right here, coupled with the Norseman. The Delica is over here, and then I got some others. I don't tend to keep it in my drawer, but the large Sebenzas actually winning the day. But the way I do that is just by being freaking brutal here. If I'm going to buy a new knife for me, generally some other knife needs to leave. Oh, and of course, this little guy, Native 5 and Maximate. Interesting knife. I actually have had a fair amount of chipping on the blade here. I gotta refresh the edge. Hopefully you can see that. This was just after doing some cardboard. Holy cow. So I'm going to try and resharpen it and see if that fixes things, but this might be going back to Spyderco for some love. But anyways, I keep my collection small by thinking about it as being very heavily curated. I don't just buy something new with the plan to keep it unless I get rid of something else. And, that's really tough because it makes me make tough decisions. The Shirogorov Neon, I will say quite firmly that I do now kind of regret selling. It's a great knife, and I know 50,000 people have just exploded in a chorus of, "We told you so, you jackass." But you know what? It's a pretty damn good thing, and I don't know. Would I carry it? I don't know, but I kind of miss it. It was such a damn... right in the chat, "We told you so." Nice. But anyways... It makes you make tough decisions, but it also keeps things small, and it keeps it a little less expensive than if you plan to keep everything. If everything's just kind of dumping into the pile, you're just going to accumulate money after money in there, and sooner or later you're going to be in a world of pain. So that's my only advice on keeping the collection small, is just try and think about it as curation. Don't keep things you don't carry. That's a big one for me, and then... don't be afraid to sell things. The worst mistake you can make isn't all that bad in the grand scheme of things. Where is the Razel? Oh, here it is. It's hiding. Yeah, this guy, absolutely is in here as well. There you go. What happened to Frankie's favorite, the Benchmade Nakamura? Benchmade Nakamura is absolutely in my little drawer. This little guy right here. Or you're talking about, this is a Nakamura. I don't remember whether this is the Nakamura or not, but there's also a little Benchmade Nakamura that I did a review on. It's the bigger of them, and it's also rather nice. Although the price is just stupid. Let's be real here, Spyderco the Mayo. Oh, why did I not think about that one? That's a good one. Let's see here. Michael Kennedy asks, how often do I use my Razel? I use the Razel on a regular basis. This is kind of the knife that I carry if I expect to be doing... I don't really do hard use stuff, but if I'm going to be doing like home improvement work, or if I'm going to be needing something that's very toolish, if I'm going to be prying, or not prying, but like scraping, that kind of thing, this is what I reach for. This is my token hard use knife. It's not the hardest user in the world. I mean, it's on bearings, etc., but it is a very solid knife, and it feels more toolish, not that it makes me look like a tool. That's probably more the watch, let's be real here. But nonetheless... so this guy gets carried on a fairly regular basis. Charlie Basnet asks, why is the Delica my baseline? You're asking about the Spyderco Delica here, and that's a really excellent question. I don't know if it's a baseline so much, but it is a knife against which I cannot help but compare other knives to, both on the size front. That's more a question of tradition, but also just in terms of overall efficacy. This knife is as good as I need. I've made I did a couple of videos that were just homages to the Delica. But there were other great knives. The Rat 1 and D2 Steel comes to mind, the Rat 2. These are all knives, whoops there. You'd think I'd be able to deploy a knife at this point in my life. But anyways, these knives right here are a really good point of comparison for anything else. If you've got like a, let's just be brutal about it. Grismo Norseman, it's an object of lust for many, many people. Thing is, I can't really say that it carries as nicely as the Delica. It's heavier, it's bigger overall. As a cutting tool, it's pretty damn good, but, honestly, you can get better there. The steel is not... And so, the fact of the matter is that this guy is actually about 100 times more expensive than your Delica. No, I'm sorry, 10 times more expensive. Hey, math is hard. But anyways, and so you got to keep that in mind. It's a good idea to have a baseline on the less expensive side, because if your baseline is something insane, like a Stan Wilson or something like that, you're not going to have a very good sense of perspective. So there you go. Would a Rat 2, Matthias Mertens asks, would a Rat 2 in D2 Steel, if it existed, be a better option than your Spyderco Delica? That's a really great question. So the Rat 2 is only done in OS 8 right now, and if they did this in D2, it would be a really compelling option. I would buy that knife in a heartbeat because, well, that would just be incredible. And the fact that they don't do that seems to me to be one of the greater injustices in the everyday carry world. But still, it would be a very good competitor to the Delica, and depending on the price point, oh man, could I recommend that, but there's still some joy in for me the ergonomics, the carryability, etc. of the Delica. The rats are a little heavier, a little thicker, maybe a little less nice to carry, and I'm not as big a fan of thumb studs as I am of the Spidey Hole. But they're all excellent. Great question there. Rich Cacone asks, any pen reviews coming? Abso-freaking-lutely. I do have some pen reviews coming. I have a review, well, this guy isn't even filmed yet. This is a Pilot Metropolitan in a really freaking fine point, which is neat. I've got a review of a Keras Customs fountain pen, Fountain K that is, coming up before too long. The Parker Jada is finally freaking getting reviewed. It is one of the very best pens out there for the price, and it's just a crying shame that I have never looked at it in any seriousness on the channel, and I'm about to rectify that. And what else? I'm trying to think of other pen reviews. I think that about covers it for the moment. Let's see here. Scott M. asks, why did I walk from the series? I don't know what you're talking about there, actually. I'm sorry. Normally, I just started reading there. If you let me know, I'll figure it out. But I'm assuming that he said, why did I walk away from the World Series? And the answer to that is because I was not on either of the teams that was playing. I was hoping that the Cubs were going to give me a holler and, ask me to step in there at the last minute. But alas, they decided that a random jackass would probably not be a better fit than a trained baseball player. It's a great question, though. Very creative, considering I don't understand it. Let's see here. Eldridge Young says, after Blade Show, the Rat 2 will have D2. Keep your eyes open, Nick. Well, that's an interesting thing. I would love for that to be the case. Oh my God, would I love for that to be the case. So, great question. Hey, Knife Tex, good to see you. Knife Tex has a very entertaining knife channel and enjoys just trolling the crap out of me. And happy birthday there, Knife Tex. Apparently it's your birthday. Hope it's a good one. Let's see here. What about the Zancudo in D2 Steel? Hey, great question there. Come here, Zancudo. It's around here somewhere. Here we go. Little EC Zancudo here. In many ways, these knives are very similar to each other, at least spiritually. Except this guy is in D2 steel. The difference between them is in kind of the weight, the density, and one of these is a liner lock, the other is a frame lock. These two knives, the Zancudo and the Avispa, are very, very interesting. I cannot freaking wait to actually get a chance to carry them and do a little bit more looking. This blade is actually, honestly curved. That's kind of weird. Maybe it's for oysters or something. You see something new every day. Well, that explains the centering issue, sure, doesn't it? Wow, look at that. But anyways, it's an interesting knife, but I'm not 100% sure that it's going to best the Rat, but we'll find out now, don't you think? Let's see. Knife Tech says he got a Benchmade Crooked River, and he is a fan. That is awesome. That's a knife that I've looked at over and over and over again and thought about, but the thing is, it's freaking huge. So it's probably not a knife that I'm going to be picking up for myself, but it's one that I'd love to take a look at one of these days. Bruce McIntyre, which knife do you think has the best gripitude? That's a great question. So in terms of gripitude, which I'm just going to pretend is a word right now, because sure, why not? I've probably said it before. Let's be real here. I'm going to go with the Hinderer ZT0560. Because it's got pretty good ergonomics, although I think it'd be better with bigger hands, but it is textured like freaking crazy. That is a knife that you could, imagine that you are a first responder, because it's a Hinderer, and you arrive on the scene of an accident wherein an oil truck has smashed into a truck carrying KY jelly, and the entire thing has been coated in firefighting foam and water. And you need to crawl around in there cutting things. That's going to be your approach right there, 100%. That is the knife for you. So yeah, that's a great question. Wow, I got creative trolls up in here. So let's see here. Blurple PM2 and S110V. So Spyderco PM2 is also available in S110V. And it is, I mean, the PM2 is a great knife, and S110 is a great steel. Can be a little bit on the fragile side, and personally, I very much like this guy in M4 and carbon fiber, but they're very hard to find, which is a shame. But, and the Blurple's pretty color, so I've definitely been tempted by that. I got this guy thanks to my buddy Tim. It's actually a Spyderco factory second. It was a second because they used too much Loctite on it. Once I cleaned that out, it runs like a tank? No, that's not it. Runs like a clock? Runs like a dishwasher? Either way, it's running like something, and that something is damn good. So, if you can find one of these, that's great. But if not, the S110 version is a pretty good thing. You did see let's see here. How many people do you know who work at a Vaseline factory? That is just a spectacular question there, Matthias Mertens. The answer to that is actually none. But that said, that just seems like one of those situations where a high amount of gripitude might be necessary. That said, maybe someday I will tour a Vaseline factory and realize the error in my ways. But, yeah, nice try, though. Let's see here. Runs like my Omega. That's the dream, at least. Fiery, would I be able to own just one knife for different applications? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if somebody came to me and said, Nick, I will give you $2 million to just own one knife for the rest of your life, for all of these applications, I could absolutely do that. Give me a nice 8-inch chef's knife. I'm not super up on the chefing thing. Give me a Spyderco Delica, probably would be my one everyday carry pocket knife. Presuming I could, buy other ones, but this is kind of one of the best all-arounders out there. And then, maybe if hard use is a different thing, maybe the Razel, maybe a PM2, something like that. But, yeah, there you go. So, let's see. The Benchmade 710 is discontinued. Should you pick up a 710 before it is sold out? It's this little guy right here. I don't know. It really depends kind of on the price, and I've done my best to keep myself in the dark on the price for this one. This needs a little bit of loving. Until I formulated my thoughts a little bit more. I find that's pretty helpful with Benchmades. But, it is a nice knife. The ergonomics on it are pretty great, actually. I'll say that much. And if whatever it's doing here is appealing to you, then why not? And with M390 steel, there's a lot of good stuff here. So there you go. Ganymede Aerospace asks, fidget spinners. I fidget with my knife and look like a sociopath. Yeah, that's actually one of the best uses for a fidget spinner, in my personal opinion. Because, well, no one's going to look at you they're going to look at you like you're a different kind of crazy. That's the important thing here. And so, why have I put my personal collection out there? Everybody's seen these guys. And so fidget spinners have that nice advantage of making you seem a different kind of weird and not the crazy call the police kind of weird. So that's good at least. I've got a video up about my take on fidget spinners, so there you go. Let's see here. A couple of people are asking me for a channel shout-out, and I'm sorry to say that no, I can't do that. And my reasoning for that is just that I don't know what your channel's like. If I give you a shout-out and then I look at your channel and it's just entirely a picture of injured animals played back over reversed classical music, I'm going to look a little bit weird there. Not saying that that's your thing, but that seems like the kind of thing that's probably up on YouTube and that I probably wouldn't want to shout out. Oh, so, yeah, that's why you're not getting a shout out here. So great question there. Well, actually, that wasn't so much a question. Mastrop Ferrum Forge We Made Knives. Any thoughts? By Brett Luda. So, that's gonna be an interesting knife, absolutely 100%. Look, Ferrum Forge are excellent knife designers. I cannot, fault them at all for that. Every time that I handle something they've designed, by and large, I respect it, even if I disagree with some of the choices made. The We Knives is a spectacular knife maker when they are using proper screws. Oh my freaking God, don't get me started about the We Knives freaking star screws. Oh my God. Anyways, putting that aside for a second. So when they are making a knife that doesn't use their stupid screws, they do an incredible job. And so a Ferrum Forge by We Knives kind of thing is going to be great. Mastrop is a company I've not had good experiences with personally. I've had bad customer service issues, and I don't trust that they're going to stand behind the product. I would be more interested in that knife if it were being sold through conventional distributors. That said, maybe you're going to have a great experience with them, and hopefully they've upped their game. It's been a couple of years, well, no, It's been about a year since I tried them last. Hopefully they've gotten better. But either way, for me, it's not on the table because of that. And I gotta be honest, the back of that knife has this huge Mass Drop logo that would just drive me up a wall. And so that's probably my other issue with it. But that said, it's probably going to be a great knife. The price is right. And hopefully they've done a good job. But it's probably not something I'm going to see here. So let's see here. Somebody's asking if that was the Cricket Igniter on the table. Yes, indeed it was. Weird knife, but cool. Let's see here. Nick, ever had a mustache? That's a great question. So, I am facial hair impaired. What I mean by that is that I am a hairy bastard pretty much everywhere else, let's be real here. Except on my face, I tend to not do great in the growing a beard or a mustache kind of thing. I mean, I can kind of do it, but it ends up sparse and creepy. I kind of suspect that I'm going to be one of those guys who, as I age, my hair is going to migrate downwards, and I'll end up with the ability to do a beard. I wouldn't mind going full Gandalf later on down the road. But yeah, and I also come in with patches of blonde, which is really weird too. So I look like some weird experiment. But anyways, yeah, so every time I've tried to have a mustache, it's just creepy. And it doesn't work out so well. I'd love to rock like the oh, come on, the musketeer look with the mustache and the little pointy goatee. But sadly, it's not going to happen. And, I'll be honest, the fiance's not a big fan of it anyways, so not a big issue. Hashtag not a brilliant beard. That's pretty excellent. Well done. Daniel DeSanto asks, any headphone recommendations, any reviews in the future? Well, it really depends on what you're after. The headphones that I use personally for listening are my Sennheiser's HD 650s here. These are completely overkill for a lot of people, and you shouldn't go out and buy these unless you've also got a good headphone amplifier, that kind of thing. I would consider the HD 595s from Sennheiser to be a great choice, depending on your musical style. They're pretty good. AKG makes some great cans as well. And if you're looking for something portable, actually, I picked up a set of the Apple EarPods recently, the ones that look like they come in a dental floss container, and I've been really impressed with them, I'll say that. Apple and I have not had the greatest relationship of late, if you watched my video this afternoon, but they've done a great job there. They've created something that's pretty compelling, although really inexpensive, and so look out for a review of those coming up here soon. So, there you go. Let's see here. Joseph D says, how do the AirPods compare to some other in-the-ear headphones? They are better than the stock headphones that come with an iPhone or something like that. They are, I would say, about on par with the Beat 6 that I reviewed some time back there. And other in-the-ears. I don't tend to do that much in the way of in-the-ear, because if I'm doing serious listening, I want an open back sort of headphone like this little guy. And so, I don't know. But they're above the curve, I'll say that much. There were plenty of options, though. Let's see here. Bruce McIntyre asks, am I from Long Island? No, I am not from Long Island. Nice try, though. I got some family back that neck of the woods, but no. Well, who were originally back, they're now... well, they're in the ground at the moment, but still, you know what I'm saying there. ATH M50X, they're great headphones. Absolutely, 100%. It's Audio-Technica. Noticed a difference in the axis lock action, so you took a scale off, noticed the Omega spring broke, what do you do? So Wyatt Broom just asked that question, and it's a good one, and unfortunately it's one that in every man's life, or woman for that matter, you're going to have to deal with. Is there a knife with a nice exposed Omega spring? No, there is not. But basically, the situation is that, okay, hey, visual aid, this right here is an omega. That little symbol is a Greek letter omega. And what that's actually, the reason it's called an omega spring is that Benchmades have a spring that kind of goes around the axis lock thing and then loops back underneath here and kind of connects, and it provides lateral pressure. It's what causes the axis lock to slide back home after you let it go. If that omega spring breaks, you kind of, well, the technical term is hosed, because you can't, it won't lock up naturally. There won't be the force pushing this knife that way. Somebody's making a bunch of omegas in the chat. Nice. Yeah, Unicode's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Anyways, if one of those springs breaks, you're probably okay, but if both of them break, you're up a creek. The way to fix this, unfortunately, is sending it to Benchmade. That's That's the only option you got there, and that's one of the reasons why it's a good thing to be in Benchmade's customer service area if you're buying a Benchmade. That is not an uncommon thing at all, having those Omega springs break. Knife Techs and one other guy have been talking about the CRKT Pilar, which is a new budget sort of smaller knife, and he says that it's weirdly good, and I appreciate that, and it's one of those that I got to check out one of these days. So, yeah, great question there. Matthias Mertens asks, would you ever review a Jim Skelton knife? Watch out for the war, though. So look, Jim Skelton is another knife showcaser sort of guy on the YouTube. Very good entertainer, 100%, and he is now into knife making, and he seems to be making some very nice fixed blades. I don't tend to like fixed blades. They don't tend to make much sense to me, so there's not a lot of sense for me going into that. The other thing is I've been trying to cut back the custom reviews. I'll do a couple of them on occasion, but it's very weird to review a custom knife at some level, particularly if it's not one that's in a certain production kind of model. Like if they're making 50 of a given model, then I can deal with that. That's closer to a mid-tech. But so I'm trying to avoid customs in general, but if he made a folder, I'd consider it. But the thing is, I don't know. I probably won't go there just because it is very, very custom. Tristan Heath asks, are the springs in Spyderco's better than the Omega spring? Yes, that's a great question. So Spyderco has a couple of different knives that use a spring. On the back locks, there is just a single leaf spring that controls, basically, that pushes this little lever up. You see it in a bunch of my disassemblies. In the Spyderco Mannix line, there is a... They're using a ball lock sort of thing, and that actually uses a coil spring rather than an Omega spring. It's more along the lines of the spring you would find in a conventional ballpoint sort of pen. And those don't tend to have those issues either. It's ugly there. Let's see. So, I don't think that Spyderco's have the same spring issues. Spyderco's got some of their own issues, but it's a different thing. Sorry to hear you didn't get a notification there, Gamma Ray Burst, but good to see you again. Let's see here. Let's see. Best $50 knife from the guy named You Bite the Peach Bites Back. My friend, I don't generally have any issue with genetically modified organisms, but the thing is, if you are eating a peach that is able to bite back at you, I feel like you shouldn't be eating that peach. I feel like there's more at play here than just peachitude. So you gotta be careful about that. As for your question, what's the best $50 knife? $50. That's really tough. There are a couple of good options that come to mind immediately. The Kershaw Link and Dividend. Oh, come here, you little bugger. Where you at there, Link? Link. Okay, Kershaw Link. Kershaw Dividend. Bam. These are both really good options under $50 here. They're both assisted, though, which can be a bit of a problem. Another one of the really best options out there is the Rat 1 and D2 Steel, which is a much bigger knife, but it's also quite good. And then if you save $10 more, and I feel like you can save $10 more, you can end up in the Spyderco Delica, which is one of the very favorite knives ever out there. So there you go. But the Dividend, oh, by the way, got a review of this guy coming up here soon. Great freaking knife here. Let's see here. Soggy Avengers. Nick, how do you stop your glasses from going down your nose? The correct answer is to make sure this is bent properly. If you go to a general optician, they will be able to help you get everything into adjustment so that that's putting the right amount of tension on your ears and they don't slide back down there. So there you go. Great question. When is that Mannix review coming? Says Derek White. I'm going to be honest, I got no freaking clue. From week to week, I have no idea what I'm going to be posting until usually the week beforehand. Sometimes, if I have something that's a little bit fancy, or brand new, late breaking, like for instance, tomorrow you're getting the ZTO 460 review, and on Sunday, you're getting the ZTO 450 re-review. I've known about those in a little while, because I've been trying to get those kind of pushed out there. But for the week after, no freaking clue. So honestly, I don't know when the Mannix is going to come out. It'll probably be in 2017. I'll give you that much. So yeah. Sadistically Shop asks, have I sharpened the Maximet yet? No, I haven't. I need to do that. Frankly, that's probably what I should be doing right now. But that's kind of an issue there. Chuck Marler asks, how do you feel about reviews on clones? Do I promote buying them? No, I don't tend to promote buying clones for a bunch of reasons. I have a Nick's take on clones that talks about my take on reviewing them. But in terms of buying them, sure, what the heck, I'll go on the record here. He says, living dangerously. Oh, good God, this could go very wrong. So my views on clones basically are that at one level they are fundamentally lazy. It always kills me to see a really high-end clone of a knife where they've just nailed the action, where they've got everything really dialed in, because had they done that with an original design, it would have been a much, much more compelling sort of thing. If a company like Kevin John or Greenthorn, or some of the other clone makers, I shouldn't be even giving their names out, but that specializes in higher-end clones, is able to do that, then by God, they should be doing that. They should team up with somebody, like, a CKF or something like that, and be producing... Don't read too much into that choice, or do your choice. Anyways, they should team up with somebody and be producing actual other people's designs on a high end. Because I love seeing good work done, but it pains me a little bit to see good work being done on clones. The other thing is that when you buy a clone of a knife, not only are you ripping off the original maker who put a lot of work and thought into that design, but you're also supporting somebody who's making probably counterfeit knives as well. If you were to buy, for instance, a very, very good Sleesh Bowie clone that just doesn't have the Spyderco spider on there, if you were to buy that from some jackass or another online, chances are that same factory is also making labeled Sleesh Bowies that they're trying to pass off as real Spydercos elsewhere. So when you support the person making clones of a well-known knife and that are very, very close, you're probably also supporting the guy who's flooding gun shows and things like that with fake knives. And that's a really, really ugly thing. So I think that as an industry, as a culture, we probably shouldn't be all that open to clones. I mean, a lot of people have a good way to get them, but it's not something I'm a big fan of. I'll say that. So, yeah, I'm probably going to catch some hate for that, but, and that's why you don't see clone reviews on my channel. That's why you're not going to see clone reviews on my channel, and that's also why I don't really tend to shout out other channels who do clone reviews. So, there you go. Wow, I got some creative trolls in there. I gotta say, if you just come into a chat here and you just shout racial slurs, you're not really doing a whole lot here. I mean, it's not even quality racism. You're just being an edgy 10-year-old. Why you gotta come in here and do that? Seriously. But hey, whatever. That's okay. I remember being 12. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Have I handled the EC Zancudo and D2 Steel? Yeah, I just showed one off, so look back there. Wow. These guys are really, really bored. And those folks are speaking French. Wow. Cool. What blade style do I like most, says Flores Psychomin, among all of the trolling? Well, that's really tough. Look, at some level, I like just a good old-fashioned blade that's got some flat and some curve to it. I am also partial to a modified tanto sort of thing. I like this blade shape very, very much. For instance, because you've got some flat area, which you can use like a warnie, and you've also got some curvy area, which you can... this is a good blade shape here. I mean, even like the blade shape on the Shirogorov Neon was pretty excellent. Or, of course, there's always the Razel, or just the plain warnie. It's a great choice too. So, I really... There were a lot of really great choices out there, and each one is going to be better for some tasks than others. Like, for instance, I hate to say it, but this blade shape I don't really entirely get. So, yeah, there you go. Nick G says, show the planet Ocean, and somebody whose name I've forgotten, sorry about that, is asking what knife goes best with this watch. Great question. I gotta say, color-wise, the Norseman is pretty coordinated, being a kind of blackish blue. Wow. That's some real anger there. You know what, young man there, can I call you a young man? Yeah, I guess I feel old. I really hope that you find some happiness there. Because if you're coming into this room and just shouting anger, shouting sadness, shouting pain, all I'm hearing are cries for help here. I mean, I don't know what your home situation's like, I don't know, but I really, really do hope that things get better for you such that you can be a little happier, that you find some joy in the world. So, yeah. Oh, it's not a fake watch, but nice trolling there. I gotta give you credit for that. So anyways, I do hope you find some happiness, but at that point, I think I'm actually gonna go ahead and ban you from the channel. So, bye there. Alrighty, moving it along there. Perfect. Gray Hole asks, Beatles or the Stones? He's asking about the Rolling Stones or the Beatles, two prominent rock groups. Did I really just tell people who the Stones and the Beatles are? Look, I'm probably going to go with Beatles. I gotta say, it's just a very, very, like, musically, I find the Beatles to just be really interesting because they do a lot of weird musical stuff. Big fan of that. So, yeah. I'm going to go with the Beatles there. The Stones have some great stuff, but I guess I'm more of a Beatles guy. Great question there. Let's see here. Knife Tex is at least trolling more creatively. I appreciate him very much there. MSM asks, do you sharpen knives for customers? No, I do not. The reason for that is that well, I'm not good at it. Let's be real here. I mean, I can put an edge on a knife, absolutely 100%, and it's more than fine for my standards. But the thing is, honestly, I'm not a professional. There are professionals out there who make a living of it, who do a really great job of it. And frankly, for the amount of time I would need to do it, I would just lose a lot of, it wouldn't work out for anybody involved. So let's see here. Sweeping, I'm sorry, I can't read Arabic. But great question, though. I'm just going to go on ahead and assume. So, do you see a Rike Fang? If this is the Rike Fang, then sure, a rake. That's right, it's rake. My thoughts on this guy, that the action is pretty spectacular, and I do like the pocket clip. This is a weird clip here. This is a brand that I don't know that much about, except that they've recently, they've partnered up with Phoenix, the flashlight company. Got another rake around here. Pardon me, somewhere. Oh, come here, rake. Come here, you little bugger. I tried. Anyways, they are, they're doing pretty decent work. Hopefully the quality control is up there. Hopefully they're actually good on a regular basis, but yeah. Aiden West asks, who's my favorite rapper? Oh, that's a really great question. It really depends on what you how you wanted to go with that. Wow, that's some more impressive trolling there. Favorite rapper, okay. I have most certainly not forgotten about Dre. No one should accuse me of forgetting about Dre. Though I'm not even acting like it. Eminem is actually pretty good in my opinion, although his earlier stuff was a little bit better than his latest stuff. I'm going to get some hate for this one, but I got to give props to Kanye West. He is a jackass. I mean, even the President Obama has called him a jackass. At that point in time, in order to be called a jackass by a sitting U.S. president, well, at least maybe by that one, that's some pretty impressive, that's some impressive jackassery. And I think he is one of those people who is living his life as an actor, who is sort of really image conscious and trying his best to be outrageous and to be a jackass. But, I do have to respect him as a rapper. He has some incredible lines there. And, frankly, some of his work has been very good. Yeezus was a pretty damn good album. Frankly, My Twisted Dark Fantasy was pretty good as well. All of the Lights, great freaking song. I also got to give props to Jay-Z, because he has these lines that just freaking floor you. One of the lines, I just cited this today. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman, so stay out of my business, man. Nice. Well done there. Okay, so it looks like I've got another band to give here. Wow. Again, Squidward, I really, really hope that you find some happiness in the world. But you're not going to find it here because you've just been banned. Adios. Adios in honor of Cinco de Mayo. Thoughts on the Ekim Knives Albatross? Matthias Mertens. So look, Ekim Knives, which is Mike spelled backwards, by the way. Took me embarrassingly long to figure that out. Sorry, some fun conspiracy theories about the identity of my troll there. Ekim Knives, you have to check out his YouTube channel. This is a guy who has been really, really dedicated about uploading good, informative videos. I'm not a knife maker. I don't know how much of the information is really valid, etc. But I have learned, I feel like, a great deal from watching his videos. And I really appreciate them very much. I think he does a great job. And so I'm interested to check out his work, but again, it is custom stuff, and so I'm not as interested. But the one thing I will say is he has a how to make a folder video that he's been doing for a long time, and he has repeatedly hit on things that are my gripes. Absolutely 100%. And he's like, okay, guys, if you do this, you will avoid this gripe. Wow, this guy is back. That's really, really impressive. This guy, okay. I'm going to stop acknowledging him. I'll just ban him silently in the future. So if I get, I have 1,000 accounts. This is going to be pretty excellent here. But anyways, so Ekim Knives, you should check out his YouTube channel at the very least, and I'd love to take a look at one of his albatrosses. But, and hopefully at Blade Show I'll get a chance. But I don't know otherwise. Let's see here. Got your first Chris Reeve today. Large at Sabenza in Cinco. Thanks for the recommendation. You love it. I'm glad to hear that. This is really a great knife. Big fan of that. 100 freaking percent. Every time I've carried it, I've appreciated it. And this actually has snuck into my pocket on a number of occasions here. So, sorry, Knife Text keeps making me laugh. The night has 1,000 eyes. Beautiful. Let's see here. Nick, what do you think about the Benchmade slip joint? Asked Joshua Van Flier. Yeah, I'm doing my best with the name there. Thing is, aesthetically speaking, it doesn't really talk to me, but I got to applaud Benchmade for mixing it up a little bit. I haven't handled it. I don't know how they've done, but I gotta say, like I said, Benchmade for a long time has done a lot of the same thing, which are axis lock, axis lock, axis lock, axis locks, axis locks. And so, I'm glad to see something a little bit new and different. Let's see here. Adios. Sure. Sorry, this guy is pretty impressive there. Let's see here. Hey, Nick, how often do I have to adjust or reduce lock bar tension on liner-locked knives? So, I don't often talk on the channel about adjusting the tension of a lock bar, meaning trying to bend the lock bar a little bit this direction to increase it or a little bit this direction. It's not so much a bending as a subtle pumping, if you will. Oh, God, I'm talking about subtle pumping on YouTube with 100 and 200 people. Good Lord. But anyways, I don't often talk about that because very often, the thing is, that is one way that you can absolutely ruin a knife. If you bend it too far and spring the lock all the it's dangerous territory. I will very, very, very seldom do that. And so, not a huge fan of it. That said, on occasion it has become necessary. For instance, the Kaiser T1, I think I mentioned this. After I did the, sorry. Moving it along there, after doing the cleat out on it, for whatever reason, the tent really lightened up a little bit, so I needed to bend that back over again. And similarly, I believe on this knife, I did a little bit of lock bar tension adjustment to get the detent back where it needed to be there. So, wow. Eric Redding asks, switchblades have recently been made legal in Oklahoma. Do you have any recommendations? So, if you're looking for a switchblade, there are a couple of brands that come to mind. ProTech is a very well-known maker of switchblade or automatic knives. You should check those out. Kershaw's got their really well-known launch series. Benchmade makes a couple of automatics, including an out the front. I'm told that Piranha can be okay. I've never actually handled them. Michigan is actually on the verge of passing a legalization of switchblade sort of thing, and if they do that, I might check out a couple of different options from a couple of different people. But those are the brands that really come to mind when I think about automatic knives that I want to mention on the channel there. So, there we go. Young XLNC asks, Seiko SKX 007 to 009 is a first automatic watch. Somebody's begging for the half track, so you know what? Here, have a half track. Why not? The problem with those guys is that they're missing a bunch of important features. They don't hack, for instance, and the accuracy can be iffy at best. I mean, it's an okay way to go. I'm going to have a review of the Seiko SRPA 21, which is, you can find them for like $250. That's a lot of money, but it was a very solid watch, so you should check it out that way. But there you go. Wow. Persistent. Adios. In Colorado apparently just legalized your switchblades as well. Those are laws that I'm very happy to see falling because practically speaking, they're just, oh my God, I'm scared laws. They're laws that don't actually do anything to protect people because let's face it, how much harder was that than to hit an automatic knife button? Just go freaking figure. So there you go. Tristan says that I am his friend. Well, Tristan, I am your friend in that reviewer-viewer sort of way as well, and I'm glad to have you here on the channel. In fact, I'm really grateful for all of you guys. Well, at least for 99% of these guys. The trolls I could probably skip. But that's one of the joys that I do get from this channel, is being able to make people, well, being able to help people, to have some effect in their life, to do some happy making things. So, yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate your friendship, and I'm doing my best there. Let's see here. Nick, do I like Cocobolo wood? I don't have a lot of experience with it. I am not a woodworker. I've had some Cocobolo. Was it? Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Snakewood or Cocobolo. I think my Nandi might have been it. But it's pretty wood, absolutely. But I don't have strong wood opinions. Like Purple Heart, absolutely great wood, A-OK. A lot more good than ugly. 100% heavy as heck, though. Oh, my God. But beyond that, I don't have strong wood opinions. Jake Sunshine asked, did I do anything to celebrate May the 4th, International Star Wars Day? What the heck did I do on May the 4th? On May the 4th, I took apart my old computer and transferred everything back onto it. So, I don't know if that's... I did need the help of the Force to pull that off. We'll say that for damn sure. So, there you go. It's third from the left on the top. That'd be this little guy. This is a Zeba. I want to say it's an MS2 or an S2 or something like that. Either way, Zeba knives, right? Spelled like this. So, come on. Come in focus. There you go, Zeba. Like zebra, minus the R. But, anyways... Favorite ethnic food, Tristan Heath asks. Indian food, bah, freaking none. The Indian food is pretty spectacular. If you can find good Indian food, and that's the thing. I was recently in the UK for a couple of days there, and holy crap, was the Indian food incredible. It brought me a great deal of joy. I could just do chana masala, and my heart's freaking content. Anyways, Indian food, stellar. I'll also give a shout out here to Middle Eastern food, or Mediterranean food. Falafel. Oh, hell yes, falafel. Freaking-tacular. Hummus. I love all of it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. So, Daniel DeSanto asks, any plans for 20,000 subscribers? Is that... Oh, God, how many subscribers do I have? I think, is that soon? Okay, well, I better make some plans for 20,000 if people are asking about it. I don't know what they're going to look like, by God, but they're going to be a thing. So, 20,000 subscribers coming up here soon. Yay. Holy crap. I didn't think I'd have 20 subscribers, let alone 20,000. Anyways, moving it right along here. Let's see, what's my opinion of GEC knives? GEC, Great Eastern Cutlery, is a great source of traditional knives. Hey, I banished the troll. Awesome. They do a lot of good work. Fit and finish on traditionals tends to be a little different than on modern tacticals, and I'm not a big fan of traditionals generally, just because they tend to be a little hard to open. I've got a GEC 99 that's in the other room at the moment, actually, but very curious about it. So, and I'm going to be doing that. How about fireworks for 20,000 subs? Haven't done that yet. Let's see here. Is the washer on the 460 going to have the same problem as the Spyderco Mantra? I assume you're talking about it. So there is a concern that some of Spyderco's more recent flippers actually like these Spyderco dice right here. Hey, come on. There we go. Have very, very, very thin washers. And as a result, some people have experienced failures of those washers or dimpling of those washers. So that's kind of it's an unpleasant thing. I don't know how common that problem actually is. I know that there have been some vocal people who've had these fail. The Spyderco Advocate is one of the areas where they said they're working on it. But the thing is, on the ZT, the washers are very thick. At least relatively speaking. I'm not concerned about that. If you've opened the Spyderco, like if you look at my Rubicon disassembly video, you'll see that washer is really freaking thin there. Hey, Jim, I'm sorry, I don't speak Persian, so I can't help you there. But, anyways, those washers are really, really, really paper freaking thin. I'm not as concerned about the other ones there. Let's see here. Lee Beasy, can I recommend a good place to buy knives secondhand? Great question. So I am partial myself to Reddit's Knife Swap forum, which is pretty excellent. Oh, hi then, Jim. The Knife Swap is pretty damn good. The, what else is good? Probably Blade forums, I'm a fan of. Some people have good luck on Instagram. Vet the heck out of anybody you sell to. Sorry, Matthias says Omega giveaway it is. No, not quite. But anyways, Yeah, Blade Forums is pretty damn good. And what else here? Quite the pocket pecker on this guy. Holy crap. Just noticed that. But yeah, that should about cover it there. USN has another sales forum. You have to pay money to get into it, and in my experience, there weren't that many deals there. But yeah, a lot of people wanting some giveaways that are crazy there. Let's see here. Silly Plummin, hey Plummin, good to see you. Asks, when are you going to cut through the Z Hunter with a Maximet native? So maybe once I sharpen this guy up, I will try and cut through a Z Hunter with it. But honestly, right now, I'm not so impressed with the cutting power because of that chipitude. So there you go. Juan Sanchez asks, recently purchased a used ZT online. How do you tell if it's genuine or a clone? That's a dangerous world right there. Unfortunately, a brand new ZT, for instance, is unlikely to have clones because, well, it's brand freaking new. The cloners haven't had a time to get to it yet. But the problem is, it can be very, very hard to tell. Absolutely very, very hard to tell. So generally, my recommendation, as in the watch world, is to buy the cell and not the knife. If somebody is going to be selling a bunch of knives on blade forums, for instance, if they've got a really good reputation, they are not going to sell a clone to somebody. That's a really ugly thing. And so look for people with a very good reputation, with a bunch of other people like that. Other things you can look for instance, if the steel stains very easily, Robo Jim just mentioned that there. But, it can be very hard to tell. Or send it to ZT. They might be able to help you out there. More post pictures on a forum. I mean, the thing is, if you bought it from a sketchy person, you may have a sketchy knife. Great question, though. Let's see here. Thoughts on the cricket home front, says the Central Avenue Gunslinger. As a matter of fact, I should have one of those arriving in my mailbox on Monday. My buddy Jim, has recently sent a box with some great stuff in it, including a home front. So that should be pretty great. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at that guy here shortly there. Let's see here. Thoughts on Schrade knives, says Ryan Soltis. Schrade knives died a long time ago, and unfortunately they've been resurrected by a Chinese brand necromancer, meaning that they are basically now, the name is completely unrelated to what they used to make. They used to make great knives. Now this stuff is, by and large, cheap crap. So not worth a try. Angelo Burton asks, are Benchmade knives even worth getting anymore, considering their quality control issues? There is a risk involved, absolutely, in buying from any company that's got quality control issues, but if you buy from a place where you can return it, if there is a QC issue, if you're in an area where you can actually send the knife back to Benchmade if there's a problem, or if you can ideally go to a brick and mortar store and handle a bunch and find one that's good, then absolutely buy one. The prices are a little high on some of their models, 100%, and, it may not be something you want to fight with, but I do cheer for Benchmade. I want them to get better because they've got some great freaking designs. The Benchmade 940 is a really, really nice little knife design here, and I hope that they right their ship and get things back in gear, because they've got good stuff. So anyways, there you go. Somebody is asking about Cutlery Lover repeatedly. Actually, it's not a channel I've spent a lot of time on. As weird as it sounds, I've watched a couple of his videos, but the thing is, as a knife guy, there are relatively few knife guys who I watch. And it's nothing personal. It's the case that there's only so many hours in the day, and I also don't necessarily want to bias myself. As a reviewer, I don't want to just be parroting what a Cutlery Lover or a Snuggle Bunny or a Kevin Cleary has to say about the world. Some channels like Skelton, Jim Skelton and I just don't overlap. By and large, the knives I'm looking at, he's not looking at, and vice versa. So it's good in that way, and I can watch, but I don't necessarily want to know what all of these folks are thinking, so I can come up with my own opinions. Very often, though, I'll watch their stuff right before I do the review, or in some cases afterwards, people I respect. And an exception to this are Frankie and Bert over at the Birdshot IV channel, because, they're hilarious, and they, to me, are... They do reviews, but they're a very different flavor of review, and so I don't find that there's that much competition. I love when they and I look at the same knife. We see different perspectives there, but they're doing enough of a different thing there. Nothing Fancy, somebody's asking about Troy Hill. Nothing Fancy is a guy who is kind of on the other end of the spectrum from where I am in terms of knives. Okay, interesting. The Nothing Fancy, like I said, he is kind of coming in on a very tactical, hard use sort of perspective, and I am coming in on a very much I am a random jackass who works in an office and carries a knife perspective. Those are very different things, and so I don't really see eye to eye with him. It's not anything against him, and he's done a great deal for the world in terms of cutlery reviewing, but generally when I watch his reviews, I just feel like you're not doing what I'm doing here. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's just they fundamentally we're doing different things, so I don't find it all that useful. But the thing is, you kind of have to find a bunch of other people who agree with you, but not so much like agree with your opinions, but their use cases agree with you. So there you go. Great questions there. Keep them coming, guys. Let's see here. What's the knife next to the one with the blue inserts? This is the Hoback MK Ultra I was talking about earlier. Tristan Boudet, if I have a flip knife in Nevada, is it illegal? I am so deeply not even a lawyer, it's not funny. That's the kind of question you're going to want to go to a website. I think Knife Rights, Knife Up might have better information for you, but I am not a lawyer. I don't know what's legal anywhere there. Let's see here. Favorite color for scales? I am a blue guy. I mean, you can kind of tell this, but if I'm going to be wearing something that is not black or gray, it's going to be blue in general, and ideally a darker blue, and so this is reflected in my permanent collection here, where a majority of knives that stick around tend to be either blue or gray. And so, that's kind of a thing for me. That said, I can be occasionally partial to some green, etc. Daniel DeSanto says that Lion Steel is making an interesting slip joint. Yeah, they are. Indeed. I'm a big fan of that. I want to check one of those guys out. Lion Steel and I don't always see eye to eye on things, particularly in the Teflon department. But you know what? I'd be curious to see that, because a modern traditional is always a joy for me. Let's see here. Chuck Norris is in my channel, but I doubt you Chuck Norris for some reason. Dr. Frunky's another interesting YouTube reviewer. Again, I don't always see eye to eye on him. He's got a different taste in collecting. Does a lot more of the custom work, but he's got some great knives come across his table. I probably shouldn't announce that. Either way, he's got a very interesting custom coming his way, so keep an eye out on his channel for that. Let's see here. Spat Family asks, Nick, is it hard to swap out the Delica? Is that the Spataro family? Good to see you there, Spataros. Is it hard to swap out the Delica scales? Kinda, yeah. The Delica... Look, if it comes with a new backspacer, then no, not at all. But the Delica is a knife I hate taking apart in a very deep way because they have one major issue with this spring. I've talked about this in my Disassembling the Delica video. But yeah. So, you can do it, 100%, but it's not going to be something that brings you a lot of joy there. Let's see here. Bruce McIntyre asks, do you think you could get leprosy from the Z Hunter? I believe it would be called Leprosy, just saying. But so far, so good. No fingers have fallen off yet, despite having way freaking too many of these knives over there to give away to patrons and whatnot. Let's see here. Wow. I get a lot of people asking, I just got called Practicool, which I kind of love and I want to use. I get a lot of people asking about violent uses for knives. Stabbing people like, oh my God, you kill people with your knives. And to me, that's really deeply ugly there. Happy birthday, Nick Gers. Somebody just mentioned there. But anyways, to me, that's ugly. I mean, violence is an ugly business, no matter what. Sometimes it is the required ugly business in very rare occasions, but it is deeply ugly, and any time it can be avoided, it should be avoided. And so, to me, I am a very non-violent person, partly because, unfortunately, I was raised by a violent person. But, it's not a... sorry, that got a little dark there, didn't it? But anyways, I'm a deeply non-violent person, and so I don't even look at these knives. Yeah, they could be used as a weapon. But unless you're an envelope, you don't need to be scared. Oh, no. Oh, I'm an idiot. I am such a freaking idiot. I just realized that oh, my God, that birthday shout-out. Oh, anyways, moving it right along there. Absolute really stupid individual. Moving along there, wow. Sometimes one of my favorite gags from The Simpsons way back when was when they used to have Mo the bartender. Someone would call up the bar and have them say something like, Oh, let's see here. Oh, I'm not even getting any good mo gags now. Oh, that was so bad. Anyways, that's okay. Moving it right along here, and a lot of people say that I sound like Mo Sislak, which is kind of funny. But one thing I will say is that right now I got two knives, and it feels pretty excellent. That's for damn sure. Icy wieners, yeah, that's a good one. Hey, does anybody have an icy wiener? Yeah, something like that. Excellent. Seymour Butts, of course. Bend over. Oh, good lord. Now everyone's coming up with the nig. Oh, wow. All these different Mo things. That's a great freaking show. Anyways, I forget what I was saying before I just got completely wrecked by not thinking through exactly whose birthday I was wishing. By the way, screw you. For saying that there. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm looking here. Glad I got a sense of humor about it. In my experience, I was talking about violence. Well, actually, that kind of links in. In my experience, the way to handle things is with that sense of humor. Sometimes it's dark humor, because sometimes the world is very dark. But at the same time, I really feel. Sorry, I'm reading the chat here, and I really shouldn't be. But anyways, I feel like a sense of humor is the way to go through the world. That's about the only way to go there. Let's see. Now I'm reading all of these comments with like, oh God, what is this person trying to make me say? Oh no. So yeah, sorry if I'm scared to read your comment aloud there. Sean Cabrera asks, how much money have I spent on knives so far? It's funny. I've never seen my fiance use that name, but I guess she must be sneaking on things. No. In all seriousness, a disturbing amount of money, but at the same time, I'm able to keep it lighter by doing a sort of one in, one out sort of approach. If you keep buying knives and you just keep putting them in drawers, you will just keep accumulating more and more money in your knives. But for me, very often when I buy a knife, I buy it, and maybe down the road I sell it. I probably, at this point, let's be real here, do have thousands of dollars in knives. That's not something I'm super proud of, I'll be honest with you there. But at the same time, you know what? It's okay. It's something that brings me joy. And with the channel now, I've bought more knives than I probably otherwise would have. For instance, the large Sebenza here is a great example of this here. Because, frankly, this is a great knife. But if I didn't have the channel, I might not own this knife. This is a knife I want to have around. It's a knife that's great for comparison. It's great for talking about other knives with. But the thing is, I have other knives that would fill this niche otherwise. Like, why would I own the large Sebenza and the Sleesh Bowie when they're doing very similar things? But the thing is, for the channel, I justify it. At least that's what I'm telling myself. The other thing is, remember that a lot of the knives I get on my channel, thank you so much, viewers, are loaned to me by viewers. And this means that instead of, taking a $50 or $60 bath on the knife, I'm able to just pay $6-7 worth of shipping back or something like that, or much more there. So, yeah, anyways. Great question there. Let's see here. Jean-Baptiste Caramon asks, have I ever bought a knife from Apostle P? No, I haven't. It's nothing personal, but I don't tend to... if he announces a knife sale, I'm usually not around for it. So, yeah, great question there. Floris Sykeman asks, are all my viewers invited to the wedding? Oh, heck no. I love you guys very much. You're all in that nice platonic review in a viewer sense. But, anyways, no, I'm not even inviting all my family to my wedding, let alone all my viewers. Oh, good God, 205-person wedding would scare the crap out of me, let alone... Oh, anyways, moving along there. Okay, ignoring that joke there. Let's see here. Do I still have my ladybug? Is it worth the price for such a small knife? That is actually probably the knife that my fiance uses most. We keep it in a little kind of, not jar, but a little platter thing. I think it's the little... It's not a coaster. What the heck's the term for something that you set a pot for a plant into? But anyways, we use one of those, and trivet? No, language is really hard. But whatever it is, it's in there. And so whenever there's something she needs to open, she'll bust out the little ladybug there. She's seen a dragonfly, but she likes the ladybug, I think. So there you go. Saucer, thank you, Kilowatt. Appreciate it. Ay. Joel Morales asks, which vendors am I going to visit at Blade Show this year? Ideally, all of them. Um, I mean, that's completely unrealistic. Blade Show is way bigger than that. But, there are a couple I really do want to check out. I want to see what Spyderco has to offer, because they usually have a case of knives that you can't take pictures of, and that I won't be talking about. But I'd love to see what they've got brewing there. There were a bunch of makers that I want to see their work, so I can see whether I want to bother reviewing it or bother buying it. That's going to be the big thing for me, and the biggest benefit from Blade Show. So often I've seen a maker's work, and then I've bought the knife, and it's just like, oh, well, that's not that well done. And so the chance to see a bunch of knives on a table, to handle it, to flip it, and realize, okay, the action on this is terrible. Or, you know what? This is great. I want to be surprised, both positively and negatively. And if I can just handle it at a table someplace, then great. Spectacular. That's the best time to be surprised, as opposed to actually having to buy one. So, yeah, but I'm really hoping to check out a bunch of different things there. I also want to go over to Benchmade and see what they're doing. I want to talk to somebody off the record and figure out what the hell they got going on with the QC and whether they're actually working on that. I don't know they're willing to talk to me, but, who knows? But I'm curious to see what they're working on there. Let's see here. Somebody is pissed over there. Sorry to hear about that. Let's see here. Am I bummed about Benchmade discontinuing the 710? Like I said, I haven't handled the 710 enough to really have a strong opinion about it. Seems like a nice knife. But thing is, there is a circle of life. I mean, there are definitely knives that I'm sad about being discontinued. The Chris Reeve tie lock. I need to make a video about that desperately, because they've just announced that this guy is being discontinued. And that makes me kind of sad, I'll be real. But anyways, I got to figure out how to do this. But, that one's not one I'm crying for specifically there, Argentina. But great question. Well, that's a pretty interesting comment there, Hypervigilizer. Hypervigilance. I appreciate Hypervigilance one, that you are pretty much always trolling me. Whenever I see one of your comments, it's just like, you are trolling me. I don't even have to think twice about it. And so your consistency is just really remarkable. And it's a more thoughtful trolling. It's not like that last guy who's just spamming hate speech, hate speech, hate speech. You're always saying something that is just tailor-made to make my day just a little crappier. Or at least slightly more entertaining. Yeah, thank you. Randall Kelly asks, new pens? Yeah, Pilot Metropolitan right here. Rodrigo Teresa asks, I'm learning the Cyrillic alphabet right now. Does the mysterious stranger have any tips? So Cyrillic is the alphabet that the Russian language is written in. Hell of an alphabet, I'll say that 100%. Very phonetic, which I appreciate, meaning that the characters correspond to to sounds in a more reasonable way than, say, the train wreck that is English. So that's a good thing. But I can ask the mysterious stranger for you. But, yeah. Ginger Root asks, how do I store my knives? In displays? Nope. I store my knives like this. This right here, and that is me moving on the chair, not letting one rip. But anyways, moving along there. This is a Kaizen foam insert I've cut into a drawer. And these are all knives that I have to actually be reviewing here one of these days soon. So it's, right, frankly, a little concerning that I have this many knives to review. But I love it. Oh my God, I'm the luckiest man alive. At least when it comes to gear. I've rolled some snake eyes too in the past, but you know what? I'm pretty happy for things overall. But anyways, so yeah, this is how I'm storing my knives, and this is how I'm storing the ones I got to review. What else needs to go in here? This little guy here, this little guy back here, and then I got another drawer worth, and there were some other gems up in there. I didn't comment here yet. Let's see here. Great question though. Bowface, do we need more super steels? That's a great question. Really thoughtful. So look, kinda yeah, but at the same time, no. I mean, the steels that we have now are so damn incredible that it's not even at some level, it's ridiculous. Like, okay, 20CV or M390 or those kinds of things are just so damn good in most ways, or M4. I mean, we have so many incredible steels. Let's get the OS 8 off frame for this one. But anyways, do we need a new super steel? No, probably not. But, at some level, I also appreciate when people are trying to push the envelope and trying to find brand new stuff. Because, M4 is a steel that I've come to love more and more as I've used it more and more. Frankly, XHP, I don't know if it belongs in there, but S35, sure, why not? Because, it's just so damn good. It's relatively tough. It's a great, great steel. And so if we hadn't bothered making more M4, it might not have been a thing. So I like people pushing the envelope, but practically speaking, do we need anything better than what we've got on a regular basis? No, not really. Frankly, do we need anything better than 154 CM? Something like that? No, probably not. But you know what? We're crazy. That's why we're involved in this. Knife people are insane. And not like the criminally insane sense, but in the I spent $500 on a pocket knife sense. That's okay. If it brings us joy, and if super steels bring us joy, then great. All the better there. Let's see here. Ondal1 asks, would I consider doing some top 5 list videos? Kinda yes, but also no. It's a really crappy answer, actually. But no, the reason I'm a little hesitant to do that is that very often those videos change. If you were to ask me, hey Nick, what are your top 5 knives that you can buy right now? That might change next week when I get something new put on my table that really blows me away. Or, or things will get, supplanted, or I'll find out new information that makes a knife less desirable to me. Something along those lines. I mean, that's always a moving target. And so for me to do a top 5 video in the sense like Kevin Cleary does a great deal of these, and they're great on YouTube. I mean, it's coming from the content creator. Oh, look at this little guy, by the way. Coming as a content creator, you can get bank on those guys because a lot of people search for that. But, it's not something I feel super great about doing because, like I said, it's going to be inaccurate next week. So maybe it's something I'll consider doing, and there are definitely more listy sorts of videos that I'm interested in working on here. But for the moment, I think I'm okay. Let's see here. That knife is adorable. This is indeed an adorable knife. Thank you again to my buddy Frank for sending this little guy along, as well as some great acoustic guitar stuff. Steinhardt Ocean 500. My thoughts right here on this little guy, which I should probably be winding, actually, come to think of it. This is a great little watch. There's a whole freaking ton of good here. Big fan of it in a lot of ways. It's totally not set to the right time at the moment, so don't judge me there. But anyways, I need to be reviewing this little guy soon. There's so damn much good here, and it is actually a surprisingly good value in my personal opinion. But the thing is, at the same time, there are a couple of little issues with it, namely the length of the lugs here. The lugs are really freaking long. If you compare this, for instance, to the Omega here, you can see that the lugs stick out way further on this guy than on the Omega, and that makes it wear awkwardly on my wrists. That's kind of my biggest objection to it. But it is a great watch, so keep an eye out for that in the future there. Mr. ATV Junkie asks, where can I buy a Z-Hunter? The Z-Hunters are, okay, if you'd like to support the channel and get a Z-Hunter, if you become a Patreon patron, after your cumulative pledge has reached $50, you'll get a Z-Hunter signed, shipped to you directly from me. That's completely a plug. You can find them around, out and about. Mind you, as much as I love this knife, this is a terrible freaking knife. I mean, seriously. You should not ever EDC a Z-Hunter, and in fact, I've always wondered about printing a little disclaimer to put in there, like, do not carry this knife, it is terrible and dangerous, but I feel like people kind of understand that. So, there you go. Grant Lockridge asks, how does the KME do on the curved portion of my Norseman? I've actually answered that in one of the other Ask the Nicks, so take a look at that. Wow. Everyone needs a Z-Hunter in their life, says Spataro family. Nice. Absolutely. How do you have time for your knives with so many loaners? Oh, my God. I have the best problems ever. That is actually a problem for me. Because, it is very hard to slot something in that I own when I have to get something back to somebody else on a regular basis. At the moment, actually, do I? No. I don't have any loaners right now. Holy crap. Like, I've got a bunch of knives that have been donated that I'm going to be selling later on for charity. All the money from those donations is going straight to charities, by the way. I don't know if I made that clear. But anyways, so they're kind of loaners in that they're not permanently mine. But, I've been trying to dial back the loans a little bit so I can get through that back stock. And so I'm not taking forever on people's loans. Because I always feel terrible if I have somebody's knife for 3 weeks or something like that. Even if it takes me that long to figure it out, it's just like, this is something somebody loves. And so, yeah. But anyways, so it can be tricky, but that's a great problem to have. Let's see here. Do I still own the poop knife? Oh, of course I own the poop knife. Where are you? Some people are thinking, oh, that's just obscene. Why would you call a knife that? Why would you ever? But the thing is, this is a third. This is 100% the freaking third. Let's just be real about this. There is no part of this knife that is not expressly meant to resemble a third. I believe this is the CRKT wrinkle. It's been customized slightly, but holy crap. I mean, this thing even has rest rings. So, yeah, this is the poop knife. 100%. Yeah, it's always going to be number 2 in my heart. That's for damn sure. Let's see here. Colton Abdella and the poop emojis explode through the chat. Oh, God, that's not a great vivid. Now, I wonder. Actually, that's a good question. If I were to spray some Imodium on that knife, would it fail to open? Huh. Good question there. So, anyways, moving it right along there. What is this little knife? This is the Kershaw, I want to say, Scallion? I'm sure I'll figure it out sooner or later. But it's a weird little knife. I love the anodization there. Don't drop that in the forest. Nice one, Robo Jim. Blazed Object, how do you feel about ballad songs? I am not nearly coordinated enough to use a ballad song, so I don't. But they're neat. I kind of wish I was. Chive, thank you very much there, Tim. No, I'm sorry, you're not Tim. I'm sorry about that. I completely mixed up your name there. But anyways, yeah, Chive. I checked out the Behind the Blades podcast. No, I have way too many podcasts and whatnot to listen to as it is. So unfortunately, I don't get around to a lot of them. I do a lot of books on tape as well. So there you go. Oh, wow, that's really excellent. This guy has got his name in such a way. I'm just going to call you Hugh. I already gave my views on Hugh. If I were to say his actual name, I'd be saying something ugly, and I've been burned by that once today. Pete, of course you're Pete. So nice try, jackass. Let's see here. Chuck Mahler asks, how do I feel about Medfords? I've reviewed them twice on the channel. They are absolutely interesting sculptures. Greg Medford sells them rather well. Let's put them that way. Beyond that, oh, good Lord, this guy. So let's see here. What do I think of the new Forged in Fire TV show? So weirdly enough, I've never seen Forged in Fire. I feel like that's something I should be seeing as a knife guy, but I haven't gotten to it yet. Maybe it's on one of my streaming services or something, but I'm a cord cutter type, so yeah. Blitz BBFFL asks, what's the most number of times I've cut myself in a day? I remember when I was first learning to use a double-edged safety razor. Not like the little Gillette guy. Oh, hold on. Here, I'll just show you. When I was first learning to use one of these little guys right here, I just brutalized myself, and specifically not when I first got this guy, because these aren't all that hard to use, but when I first got one and then put a Feather blade in it. Feather is a brand of blades that are sharp as crap. Like, they are, oh my god, sharp. If you've been using Mercur blades, Feather will just kick your absolute... And I love them. They are spectacular freaking blades, but they are brutal, and they take no prisoners. It's great for my thick, hairs there. But still, nonetheless. So the most times I've cut myself in a day was probably when I first started using one of these guys with feather blades. They're spectacular. I was much more careful when I first started using a straight razor. Because, well, there it's kind of a little bit more apparent that you're going to cut your face off. But, yeah, nonetheless. So that's probably the most cuts in the day. Feather blades are spectacular here. Why not? Just so you guys know what I'm talking about. Well, I'm recommending blades here. Right here, these guys, Feather New High Stainless Platinum Coated Blades. You can occasionally find these guys for like 20 cents a blade or something someplace. If you buy them in absurd numbers, you can get a great deal on them. And the thing is, they are really, really, really freaking sharp. If you've got a very thick beard like I do, unfortunately it doesn't grow in well, but it's thick as heck, these will actually do the trick, and you can get through them pretty straightforwardly. But, yeah, so these are great blades, and they're way sharper than like Mercur, or what the heck is the... Astra, I think, is a Turkish brand, which didn't impress me so much. I should do a review on this. I should totally do this. Oh my god. So anyways, yeah. Hey, cool. It was a neat sound. Love resonance. Beard is extra thick, indeed. Delica is FRN Stan. Yeah, this is my, this guy is named Stan. Let's see here. A 20 CV 940 at Blade Show. I don't know what you're talking about there, but yeah, there you go. Hold on, gotta ban someone real quick there. Adios. Bye now. Edge holding or Ariza sharpening? For me, edge holding, 100%. I can sharpen pretty much anything. That sounds really cocky, but I feel like I'm okay saying it. The thing is, I'd much rather not do it very often. So there you go. Blitz BBFL, what's my estimate of percentage of knife sales to the knife community? That's a really great question. It's one I don't have a great grasp of. I've had conversations like this with a, well, actually, I'm not going to give his name out of respect to the guy. But anyway, he is a knife maker with a knife company that you've definitely 100% heard of. But anyways, I was talking with him about this, and, he was talking about, for instance, the fact that the Chinese and Russian markets are huge for him, and that, these guys aren't the guys who are on forums and whatnot. Forum outrage is a thing, but a lot of business goes on way far away from that. So, yeah, there you go. But, so, I think we do as a community, sorry, I think as a community we consider ourselves a little bit more important to these knife companies than we think. But at the same time, though, if somebody Googles a new knife that they're looking at, for instance, they want to find out whether they should buy what's a knife that they could conceivably buy? Whether they should buy a Sebenza. They might go online and see, hey, should we do this? And, they're going to find threads on Blade forums. They're going to find videos on YouTube, things like that. And so if a company is consistently making bad decisions or is having bad quality control, people might get scared off by that. So I think that knife companies need us less than we think, but at the same time, I think it'd be a bad idea to ignore us completely, as some companies have found out there. Yeah, I'm told that the clone markets are much bigger in some markets, particularly in Russia, but that's okay. Let's see here. Will I review a Strider SNG Lego in the future? No, Strider's shutting down. I don't feel the need to go there. Let's see. Gamma Ray Burst. Have I ever used a straight razor? Old school. Yes, I have, absolutely. And in fact, I still do on occasion. Unfortunately, generally, I don't have enough time to go there. And because if there's one thing you should know about a straight razor, it's that you should never do it quickly. If you don't have time to shave with a straight razor, use one of these. Because it will take you more time to shave with a straight razor just naturally, but it'll take you even more time if you've cut your freaking face open. I remember one day I did not follow this advice. I got up at, something like 7 a.m. because I had to be someplace else. I think I had to be. That's right. I had to teach that day. Anyways, so I got up. I shaved myself. The problem is I did a sort of one of these motions because it was 7 a.m. or something and I was exhausted. And I ended up with a little cut on my face. And the nice thing about a straight razor cut is that they heal very cleanly because it is a super freaking sharp knife. And so, it's not going to leave a scar or anything, but I had this slice across my face. Like, freaking Zorro got me. And so I show up and like all day long I'm going around and I got this freaking Zorro slice on the side of my face. It was only, like an inch or something like that. It wasn't very deep. It stopped bleeding pretty quickly. But the whole time, what the heck happened to your face? So I just took to giving them a different answer for everyone who asked. Something like, pirates attacked my bus on the way in. Something like that. Or, what else? I'm trying to remember my good answers. Oh, Zorro. I blamed Zorro regularly. You should see the other guy. XN-Bomb. I'm using that next time. That was spectacular. Oh, man, I need that. So, anyways, that's a really good question. But, so I do use a straight razor, but I restrict it to times when I know I can do it well. The other thing is I don't have a straight razor I love right now. Right now, my razor, I have a Jaguar razor that's unfortunately warped. Like, the blade itself has got a little bit of a skew to it. And so I don't necessarily love it that much. And, I've got a Dovo, is it Dovo? Yeah, it's a Dovo Salingan blade. It's okay. It's very lightweight, though. I owned briefly a Nate Zawada straight razor, which was fine. It was good, but it was a lot of money to have tied up in a razor. I'd love to get a Tim Zawada straight razor. That's Nate's father, because he just does it with this incredible artistic flair. But anyways, Yeah. Let's not joke about suicide, guys. That's a pretty serious issue. And by the way, somebody's making suicide jokes in there. A lot of people, and I'm going to go dog here for a second, but it's really easy to feel very alone on the internet. So if you're ever in a situation where you're feeling like you're gonna do something like that, where you're really actively considering that, there are hotlines. National Suicide Hotline. If you Google it, you can do that. Or shoot me an email. Seriously. It's not a good place to be, but you don't need to be there. Hypervigilance 1 is actually saying suicide isn't funny. Thank you, Hypervigilance. That is the first non-troll comment you've ever made, and it's a really good comment. But anyways, so yeah, that's beside the point there. Anyways, so straight razors are really good, and I'm looking for a good one. That's going to bring me a lot of joy. I want something that's very heavy. The problem with a lot of straight razors is that they are very lightweight, and because I've got relatively thick beard, I need good edge retention and I need some weight to it. So, yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Feelings on front flippers. Pim Baton asks. Like it. Great stuff. This is a Gareth Bull Miura. Nice knife. I'm a little frustrated because I keep hearing more people who've had problems with Gareth Bull's work, and unfortunately, he's really nice to me. And, that's well and good, but I'm the guy he should be nice to as a reviewer, but it bothers me to hear that everybody else is having a very different experience. So I'm still trying to figure out how to review this little guy, being completely honest with you there. Let's see here. Ida's asking, should I get a Mokutai folder or 2 mid-techs from Robert Carter? I tend to recommend people go the mid-tech route just because it's a knife you're more likely to carry, it's a knife that's easier to repair, that kind of thing. So, yeah, good question there. Flores Psychoman asks, Gavco knives, holy crap, 90 minutes. I'm a machine or something like that. Top row, second from the right. This is Miura by Gareth Bull, Gareth Bull, as in the big thing with the horns that goes, rawr. That's how it goes. There we go. What the heck? Okay, moving it along there. Did I just... No, I didn't get trolled. All right, just making sure there. Jimmy Dean asks, should I get an Edge Pro Apex? So, the Edge Pro system is really nice. I'm a big fan of it. I no longer am using it because I'm using the KME now, which I feel is slightly better in a couple of ways. Not needing to soak the stones, the diamonds cutting a little bit better. But the thing is, the Edge Pro is still a really great system, so if that's the only thing that's available in your area, for whatever reason you feel that that's better, it is still a great choice. The KME is a very good choice. And I have, in fact, sold that, so there you go. Hashtag bull sound. Nice. The Ghost in a Suit asks, have I taken first aid courses? I have. That's something I want to do more of. I'm going to be honest with you here. One of these days I need to do a wilderness first aid sort of course. Not because I'm out in the wilderness that often, but because I want to just have more of that knowledge. But I've done my best to keep everything out there. Mr. ATV Junkie asked me about Anton Malashev, who is a very nice knife designer. He's got a bunch... Hey, cool. The owner of my Edge Pro is in here. Excellent. Anyways, Malashev is a great designer. He did the CKF... oh, God, he did the Grotch, as well as a couple of other things. It's killing me. He did the Gnome, is kind of the thing he's best known for in the community. But I'm a big fan of his. Absolutely 100%. Let's see. Almost Seis de Mayo. Yeah, Seis de Mayo isn't quite so impressive. Yeah. You should go for EMT. God knows we need more of them. The thing about being an EMT, look, if somebody said, Nick, here you go. Here is the money and the time to do EMT training, I would do it in a heartbeat. But the thing is, I am not an EMT, and I'm not going to be practicing in that field. My field is entirely different. I would love to have that knowledge, but any knowledge will atrophy. So I would be better prepared than most, but at the same time, I am no substitute if I haven't done anything EMT-like for years. For an actual EMT. And so it's important, especially with medicine, to know your level of ignorance. Right now, I know a little bit of first aid. And I know a fair amount about medicine for other parts of my life. But the thing is, I don't pretend to be half as skilled as a random jackass, second week on the EMT truck sort of thing. And it's important not to overestimate your skill level there. This is not the time to start sewing yourself up because you took an EMT course, that sort of thing. That's a great question there, but I'm not going to answer it. Revenge of the Fifth, nice. Since you can't get a Norseman, what would I recommend in the $500 to $1,000 range? Flippers with great action. Honestly, Thorburn is really good, like the A2 series from Thorburn et al. You can get some very good stuff there. And they were a little bit easier to come across. It's IKBS, so it's a very different thing. But honestly, in the $500 to $1,000 range, I'd recommend that you get 2 or 3 knives. There were a lot of really great production knives. I mean, heck, the ZTO 452 is nearly as good as the Norseman in terms of action, and it's way cheaper. So, great idea. Jaden Soluta asks, what is this? Well, Jaden, this is a channel where I'm talking about knives, gear, watches, pens, etc. So, yeah, that's welcome to that. Spencer Sunshine, what do you dislike about carrying traditional slip joints most? The thing is, look, I love the idea of traditionals, but I'm used to some of the conveniences of modern pocket knives. Things like having a clip, things like one hand open, things like locking blades. Those little details to me are important. And so I'm spoiled on that. I would love to be able to carry traditionals more often, but you have to carry them in a pocket slip or something like that in your pocket or put them in a chain. It just doesn't so much do it for me. The GEC 99 is a great knife, and I'm probably going to be carrying it tomorrow. I'm going to a wedding. Not my wedding, mind you, just some random jackass's wedding. But I'm going to be carrying that because I'm going to be in slacks. But still, they're not necessarily my scene anymore. Let's see here. Nick Shabazz is a SoundCloud rapper under the name Slamming Styles. No, that's not actually accurate, but I appreciate that very much. Jaden's, oh good lord, am I a killer or something? I think I've answered that earlier in this video. I am a non-violent person, and the only thing at risk from these knives are envelopes. But great question there. Jacob M. asked, clones as stormtroopers. This is one of the least appreciated aspects of clones. Everybody talks about clones. And, okay, interesting. The thing is, clones killed the freaking Jedi. How are we still having this conversation, knife community? That's why clones are bad. They killed the freaking Jedi, okay? You cannot be good and kill the freaking Jedi. Case closed. So, in that way, we know that clones are bad. Just saying. Let's see here. Parallels of my profession and the love of knives. Jay Simons, that's a great question. My profession is very detail-oriented. I am a sound guy and I'm a research scientist. And so I have to be worrying about things at the milliseconds level. And so, partly, in terms of gear, that's why I like an accurate watch. But partly because, I am retentive for a living. I have to be very retentive. And so when I get home and I look at a pocket knife to put in my pocket, by God, I'm going to be retentive about it. So it kind of makes sense there. Anakin Skywalker killed Jedi, but then he became good again. That's true. But the thing is, did he actually become good again? Or did he just stop being a dick for a couple of moments? So, that's a really good question. My fiance and I have had extended arguments about this, whether Darth Vader was ever actually good, whether he was ever actually even a badass. But, yeah. Scott Milano asks, am I a fan of, do I own any auto knives? No, I don't. He redeemed himself, sort of, kind of. But, yeah, good question there. Jaden's asking, Star Wars or Harry Potter? That's really tough, because I like both of them very, very much. Jedi Academy or Hogwarts? Oh, that's tough. I probably have more in common with the Jedi philosophy, if you will, but let's face it, the Jedi religion, so to speak, as described in the books and extended universe, is basically a form of Stoicism. It's based in Buddhism. I feel like, at least that's where the similarities lay, and so when I tend to be a Stoic myself, and so it kind of works out in that way. The Harry Potter world is a little bit more, I don't know, it's a different thing. So, yeah, favorite Star Wars film? Probably Empire Strikes Back. If nothing else, it's the only appearance in film of a Super Star Destroyer. Let's see here. There was something the Will of the Sith. Ay. Sound guy like acoustics, indeed. Nick, am I heading the Blade Show? 100 freaking %. Yep. Absolutely. And Texas Knife Guy asks, what's my favorite and least favorite thing about the knife community? That's in one of my earlier Ask the Nicks. Check that one out. Let's see here. Actually, guys, you know what? Favorite Star Wars Extended Universe character. I can't leave that one on the ground. Oh, God, that's going to take some time. Oril Quirg is, I can't actually pronounce his name because it's Gand. But anyways, Oril's pretty awesome. He's in the Rogue Squadron books. God, who else? Oh, God, I'm a nerd, guys. See, you fooled me again. First, somebody had me say a racial slur accidentally, and then now you're making me look like a giant freaking nerd. But that's okay. HK-47 from the KOTOR is a really great character, as is Revan. One of the better reveals out in the world there. Who else? You know, there was some great, and frankly, Extended Universe Luke is pretty excellent. Not Luke, but Luke. Pretty solid guy. He's kind of whiny during the movies himself, but still. Let's see here. We're all nerds in academia, it's okay. It's no secret that I'm a nerd, yeah, indeed. Jason and Jaina, Solo, not a huge fan, I guess. HK-47 is spectacular as a character there. What else here? I just don't know. Yeah, larynx collapse is overdue, 100 frequent percent. Danny, I talk about, a bunch of people have asked, do I own guns? What am I take on firearms? I've got that in an earlier, video, another Ask Nick. Mara Jade actually reminds me a great deal of the fiancée. Not that she's, the Emperor's hand or anything like that. Unless I'm the Emperor. And that would be really weird, because I'm not a violent guy. But anyways, nonetheless, Darth Nihilus, I don't know. Anyways, guys, I should go away. It's 99 minutes here, and that's a stupid amount of time to spend on a YouTube live stream. But I love you guys, so it kind of works out that way. Anyways, I am the Emperor Theomara Jade. That's the most perverse thing ever, actually. That is not at all romantic. Anyways, moving it right along there. Have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your evening. Mr. ATV Junkie, my gripes are already... Look at the gripe series. Do I have Star Wars sheets? Not yet. All right, I gotta go, guys. Bye now. Adios.